Kevin Gordon here from Autosavant.com, coming to you from the 2013 Audi S7. The Audi S7 comes in with a starting price of $78,800. This one has two $6,000 packages on it, both the Bang & Olufsen stereo, which, like I said, is just about $6,000, and the Safety Advanced package, forgive me for not remembering Audi's terminology, that gets you radar guided cruise control, night vision, and a bunch of the other advanced safety systems. This one also has Black Pearl, which is about $600, 20-inch wheels, which is another $1,000, and one or two other things, which brings the grand total to $94,000. So it is far from being inexpensive. The other option that it has is the upgraded carbon fiber package inside, which is quite attractive. I mean, carbon fiber, when they were first sort of painting plastic to look like it, came across as a bit of a gimmick. In this one, you get a bunch of it down in the center console, and in the band that's become somewhat common across the dashboard, it's a single piece. And like I said, it's a nice look, and it's a reminder of the sporty potential of the car on a daily basis. Everything else in here is pretty high-end Audi standard. You get Audi Connect as standard, the full navigation with Google Maps. They are, 8-button, which is really 4 buttons surrounded by 4 buttons in a quad pack. Control setup, their touch display where you can draw on letters. We've gone through that in detail, but we've had the A6, so if you haven't seen it, take a look through the channel for that stuff. It all really works well. I mean, I have to say that I think Audi's technology package leads in the industry right now. From an interface and screen and design perspective, theirs is as good as anybody's out there. BMW is close, and I think it comes down to personal preference between the two, but I do enjoy Audi's interface to their systems, as well as the screen they put in between the speedometer and the tach. That does a really nice job of a second representation of what's happening on the screen and keeping information, readily available to you. So the S7 over the S6 adds $6,000 or $8,000 over the price of the car, and the S6, it should be pointed out, is a couple pounds lighter because they don't have to strengthen the structure for the rear hatchback opening. So it's an interesting trade-off. It's a little bit more from a cost perspective. It may not have quite the dynamics of the S6, although I'll be honest, it would be almost impossible to note the difference between the two on a driving perspective. Maybe if you really spent a lot of time on the track, you could see it, although I doubt many people will be doing that with their S6s and S7s. The thing the S7 ultimately winds up getting you is that side profile and that squatty rear end of the A7. It is a really interesting looking car, and one that at least I don't find myself mistaking for any of the other Audis. It could be said that between the A4, the A6, and the A8, it actually takes a bit of a trained eye to spot the differences between the three cars. Well, with this car, you do get a pretty substantial visual differentiator between the two, and the other advantage you get is exclusivity. They do sell less of the 7s than they do of the 6s. So, your $6,000 or $8,000, whatever the difference is, does buy you some exclusiveness for when you pull up to the valet. I want to talk a little bit more about the engine that's in this car. So this new 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 for Audi really is a pretty impressive technical thing. We're hoping to get some time in the S8 today, which I will talk about the engine itself in more detail. But the one important note with this car is, despite making 420 horsepower and 406 foot-pounds of torque, it still gets 27 miles per gallon on the highway. And that's, of course, the new trend, is smaller displacement, boosted engines that really do a much better job with efficiency. And that's the one thing that I've known with Audis from my past experience is there's a lot of cars that get the ratings from the EPA, but very few cars that I drive do I find myself matching and or beating those numbers when I drive them, and that's probably the fault of my right foot. But the Audis are the one car that do it consistently. I drove a A6 all the way from Philadelphia to Boston at a very high average speed, and it crushed its highway number. I mean, I was blown away by the economy. And this car, the way I've been driving it today, appears to be doing the same thing. They really do seem to have nailed the efficiency side of the equation with their new engine lineup. So the 2013 Audi S7, at $78,000, it's quite a bit of car for the money. This one at $94,000 is quite a lot of money for quite a lot of car. And now I'd like to leave you with a minute of getting to hear the car, and I will just keep my mouth shut. Just how high the limits are. You know, it's not a car that's a tire squealer, because if the tires are making noise, you've most likely long gone beyond your driving abilities. It really is a car that just has so much potential that if you ever want to go for a spirited drive, you're more than welcome, and it's sort of always going to be there to catch you if you make any mistakes. As usual, Kevin Gordon from Autosavant.com. Look forward to talking to you guys soon.